Quick note before today's episode. I am hosting a free workshop called Get Your Website Ready to Sell this fall on Tuesday, August 25th at noon Eastern Time. What happens is you'll log into the call with your website open in a tab, and we will use AI to check it live. And you will make real changes in real time, and I will be there to answer any questions that you have. And if you can't make it live, when you register anyways, you will still get the replay. The link is in the show notes. Now on to the episode. Okay, we're talking about AI. I was looking at my episodes from last year, and exactly a year ago, this week, I released an episode 87, called AI Tools Transforming My Website Design Business This Summer. And it has been on my mind to do an update to that episode ever since I was featured last month in the Her AI Showcase. I'm in a group for women who are building things with AI. It's one of my favorite places to be. We are learning so many things. And I built a networking chat system that helps me when I'm having a coffee networking chat with someone. Anyways, it got me thinking I am using AI quite differently in my business this year as opposed to last year. And it would be fun to do a refresh. So, in this episode, I will walk you through my current tool stack that I use with AI, what has changed since last summer, and how I've really moved from just asking AI for help to actually building systems that run without me having to ask every single time. So by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what I'm using, why I'm using it, and how you might be able to build something similar for your own business. So let's get into it. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. All right, we're talking all things AI. It's one of my favorite topics. And so let's recap. Last year, I felt that my use of AI was a lot about prompting. There was a lot of opening up a chat, like a ChatGPT or a Claude, and asking for something, getting an answer, and then using it. I did also have some workflows, but they were a little bit harder to do. And everything that I shared with you was really helpful. It saved me time. But this year is like completely different. It's not about prompting anymore. It's more about building systems that do the work for me. So I'm not starting from scratch every single time that I need something. And the difference has been absolutely insane. So today I thought I'd walk you through what it actually looks like in my business right now. Now, to recap, last year, and it is episode 87 that you can go and listen to it in total. And I suggest that you do. It had some really good information. But I was sharing 5 tools that I loved. There was AI, so specifically Claude, I mentioned, and ChatGPT. I was using it for brainstorming episode ideas, outlining episodes, turning audit and strategy call transcripts into client-ready reports, and I still do all of that. Then there was the Arc browser, and it kept my tabs and my bookmarks organized. If you're like me, you have like 50 million tabs open all the time. I find that Arc helps me keep things really organized. Then I had a mention of Canva Code. And I think when I recorded that episode, it had just come out. And I built timelines. I was doing some custom design elements for my website, but it was hard. But I was using Canva Code, and I don't even know if that still exists. Then there was Airtable and Zapier, which I had set up as a podcast tracker and a project tracker, both triggering AI to repurpose my content into like social posts, newsletters, blog content. And I still have that, but I don't use that workflow. I use a different workflow, but it is still applicable to kind of what I do in my business. And then I was recording tools to get a full transcript from every call, and I'm still doing that. I use HoneyBook to record calls and Descript as well, and also Granola. And let's see, what else did I have? I think those were the main things that I shared about in the last episode. Now, most of them I still do use. However, I want to share in the last few months or so, we have seen major leaps in the AI world, specifically with Claude Cowork. Claude Code and Claude Design. It is like a whole new world out there. And it's a world that isn't just prompting. If you are integrating AI into your business and you're just using it for prompting, I think you are missing out on so much. These AI tools can actually do things for you. And so I want to share a little bit about how I've been doing that and how I've been using them. The first that I want to share about is Claude Design. This is one of the newer tools, and it is really awesome. You can use Claude Design, and when you open it, you can do a bunch of different things. I have used it to create slides for workshops that I've wanted to host. And how have I done this? Well, I brainstorm, what do I want this workshop to be about? I kind of use I use a tool called Whisperflow. So you install that onto your computer, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to speak into whatever you want. It can write an email for you. You can speak into Claude. So instead of me trying to type into Claude, I speak into Claude. And I have a conversation sharing what I want a presentation to be about. And I share with it everything that I want to include. And I'm just like brainstorming, just like kind of word vomiting everything into Claude, like just Claude the chat. And from there, it helps me craft a presentation based on my content that I want to share. So it comes up with the words and the content that I want to have in my slides. From there, I go over to Claude Design and I share all of that, what we've crafted in Claude, regular Claude, and Claude Design. And I say, can you please create some graphics for my presentation? And I'll want to share with it my brand colors, my brand fonts, maybe a few inspirational looks that I have. And then I just hit go. And what it does is it creates slides. It creates my entire presentation for me all ready to go. And I can export that presentation into Canva and make any final changes if there's anything that didn't show up right. And voila, it's done. Like 10 minutes top. It's been absolutely life-changing. It can also create promo graphics. I did some workshop promo graphics for it, Instagram graphics, LinkedIn, anything that you can create graphic-wise. It is a great tool. And it replaced a lot of time that I spent in Canva building these pieces one by one. What I used to do in Canva is have a template, right? Because you want things to have that consistent look and feel. I'd have a template and I'd go in and change the words and change the imagery. But if you have a starting design in Claude Design and you say, can you update it with this new information? Voila, it does it in like a second. It is absolutely life-changing. So if you haven't checked out Claude Design, I encourage you to do so. Now, here is the big Betty over here, Claude Cowork. This is where the real shift happened for me. Once I got Claude Cowork, I realized that AI can do things for me. And yes, in fact, AI was doing things for me last year. I feel as though I was kind of ahead of the curve in working on Zapier and integrating Airtable and having things kind of kick off and automate for me. But it took me so much time and so much technical know-how to set that up. With Claude Cowork, you don't have to have the know-how. If you don't know what to do, you have a conversation with Cowork and they'll tell you what to do. It really is life-changing. So the first thing that I wanted to dive into was, I was wondering, how are my emails doing? Like, what is their performance? What is their open rate, click-through rate? Which ones are resonating? Like, what is the content that people are really liking? What are the subject lines? Things like that. And I use Claude Cowork to go and read every single one of my newsletters and get the statistics for every single one of my newsletters that I sent out and give me analysis of what's working, what's not. And it gave me a report, and I asked it to craft a skill in Claude Cowork that is based on this, and it knows what works for my audience, what my audience likes, and it will help me write newsletters going forward with this understanding. And what this allows me to do is to write my newsletters however I want, and then I ask this skill to look at it, analyze it, and make suggestions on how I can update what I write for this newsletter based on what resonates with my audience. So that was the first thing that I did. Now, the second thing that I did was and I did a whole episode on this. It was episode 128, Can AI Build My Website? The answer is more complicated than you think. I wanted to know if AI could build a website because, again, like I love AI. Can I integrate it into my workflow? And so I tried to build a website with Claude Cowork. And you can listen to the episode to find out how it went, but I'll give you a little short synopsis. It wasn't as mind blowing as I thought it was going to be. So you can listen to that episode, but that was the second thing that I did. Now, the third thing that I did was I built a homepage clarity checkbot. And this is a chat GPT bot that I built based on my intelligence and how I review homepage websites. And what I did was I trained this chatbot on everything that I know about how I build websites. And more specifically, I have been offering mini audits on the podcast where we look at your website, your homepage included. And so what I did was I shared all of these interviews of how I worked with someone on the podcast, how I talked to them through how to make their homepage a little bit better. I shared this with ChatGPT plus a lot of other information that I have built out about my processes and what I believe and what I think makes a good homepage and things like that. And I trained a chat bot to look at a homepage like I would and to give recommendations like I would, as if I were there. So if you're interested to see this in action, you can go get it on my website, jennybdesigns.com. Right at the top, it has the homepage clarity checkbot. You can grab that, download it, it's free. And then once you add it to your ChatGPT, you put your URL into the chat box, and then it will just analyze your homepage. And I even ask if you want a deep analysis or if you just want a few simple things because, some of us really want to go deep. Others just want to know what they want to know. So that is the second thing that I built. And I'm having a lot of fun building things. The third thing that I built was a quarterly website review system. Again, this similarly is something that you would download on my website. It's under free resources. And it becomes an ongoing check-in for you. Every quarter, you can put your website into this checkbot and it will see what is going on with your website. Will ask you some questions and then it will recommend what you can update because it's important to keep your website updated. It's not one and done. It's something that you constantly need to be updating and sharing new information on and making sure that it has the most up-to-date information. So that is the next thing that I built, the quarterly quarterly website checkbots. Now, I also built a copy bot for my clients. And this is so they have something to lean on when they are trying to write their own website copy. It is not a replacement for a copywriter because I truly believe there is no replacement for having someone write copy for your website. The amount of personality and just flair and, genuine impact that a copywriter can bring to your website is irreplaceable. But some people want to write their own copy or they don't have the investment to work with a copywriter. So I built a copy bot to help my clients understand what each section of their website is for. For example, the hero section, I have the copy bot. It will ask you some questions about your business, and I also feed it some information based on our strategy call. And so by the time the client gets this copy bot, it is asking them questions and giving them some feedback and some examples of what could work for each section of their website. So that is the next thing that I built. Now, my onboarding workflow, I think I mentioned this last year, but I'm still using that. And that is a combination of Zapier and Claude and Google Drive. And so that is still all working. When someone signs on, like a bunch of things happen in the back end so that all I have to do is jump into my Notion. It will have everything linked that I need to work with that client. I've also started analyzing strategy calls. I mentioned this last year. I was doing a lot of analyzing for like audits and coming up with reports. But I tried to analyze strategy calls for the voice of the client so that their exact language shows up in what I create for them after a call. It's been wonderful being able to be fully engaged in conversations that I have with people, if it's a consultation call, a strategy call, a networking call, and knowing that I am recording it and I will have the transcript afterwards. And being able to analyze that transcript and ask questions has been so life-changing for me because I can be engaged in the conversation and not worry that I'm missing something. But I can also understand and remember these fine details because I have the transcript. So I have HoneyBook. I use that to record and transcribe all of my client conversations. And then the transcript is what feeds my whole system in the back end and what I can use to analyze. And then finally, let's see, I have I've got three more. So the next thing that I built was my networking system. And this is what I presented on in the Her AI Club. I'm part of a group of women who build like AI systems for their businesses, the community. And we had a showcase last month, and I presented my coffee chat processor. What this is, and I think I alluded to this with my last analyzation of the strategy calls, but when I have a conversation with someone, it's hard to remember every single thing and write down all the details. So when I'm having a coffee chat, I'm able to engage fully because I know that a conversation is being recorded. And I've struggled with this for years. I've been looking for like the best CRM. Like I spent time investigating so many different CRMs because I was looking for something that could record who I talk to, when I talk to them, have a checkpoint in a certain amount of time so that I know I check back in. Also, remember what was important about our conversation and have something to, come back to them about, like in 6 months and say, oh, last time we talked, you were promoting this event. How did it go? Like having something like that and being able to prompt me and remind me without me having to go into the system to find the information that I need. And I never found it. I used Airtable for quite a long time to connect and kind of to build my own system, and it worked fine. Like it really did. I had it going for a while. It would alert me when it was time to connect with someone back again because Airtable has these automations in it and it had all the contact details. But what I decided to build was something that took it to the next level. It kind of was like a matchmaker for me. So how my system works is that I have a conversation. They book it through my copy chat call in HoneyBook. I get the transcript after our conversation. And then in Claude, I built a processor, an artifact it's called, a copy chat processor. I put the transcript in the processor and it does its magic. And then it extracts from that conversation the person's name, their email, their website, what the services they do. And then it gives me a summary of what they offer. And then it gives me a summary of what our conversation was about. It pulls some personal details from the conversation. It also suggests and I told it to suggest like a connection date of 2 to 3 months, okay, depending on when we have that chat. And it goes through my networking list of people that I've networked with, and it pulls 3 people that would make a good connection for them based on our conversation. And this is the part that's been life-changing for me because I have like serious mom brain. And I feel like every time I have a conversation with someone, I want to be so helpful. Like, who can I connect you with? How can I help you? That is my goal after a coffee chat. And they said, I want to be connected with a business coach. And my brain, when you say that, I'm like, okay, yes, like I know business coaches, but like, who do I know? And I come up with the same like single business coach that I mentioned. And it just was hard for me to remember the nuances of everyone that I knew and to make these right connections. And with this tool, it goes through my database and it finds 3 connections that would be a good fit for them. And it is so good. Like, I can't even tell you. It's been amazing because after the conversation, I can get in touch with the person and say, you know what? These are 3 good connections for you. Would you like me to make the introductions? And it has allowed me to help in a more generous and more impactful way to the people that I have coffee chats with. And what the system also does is after it puts it into my Airtable, it puts a connect by date. And I built this in Claude Cowork. I have a scheduled task that runs every day, every morning. It checks to see if it is time to check in with everyone. Like, is it time to check in with a specific person on that day? So say I met with someone 3 months ago and the time has come that we need to reconnect today. The Claude Cowork goes through our conversation. It goes into my Gmail and it creates a draft of an email that I can send to them. And it includes things that we talked about or what they were working on and a simple, like, how are you? How can I help you type email, like a draft for me to look at. Then it adds a task in my Notion because that is my Notion to-do list. And it says, time to check in with Kathy, check your drafts in Gmail. And when I go to my drafts, I see the draft of the email there. I can change it up and then send it. And then it updates the date that I have my next check-in in the Airtable. So that is a large system that I built for my networking copy chats. And it has been awesome. There are so many different ways that AI can transform your business. Like, if you're not sure what to do, like, have a conversation with Claude and ask them, like, this is what's bothering me or this is what's slowing me down. What can we build together? So those are what I've been using this summer. And I just want to share that I think Claude Cowork has really changed the game for me. It's such a big part of what has changed for me because I think it's so much more user friendly. Last year, I was kind of hobbling everything together, and this year, Cowork is just amazing. It lowers that barrier to entry, and it makes work much easier for you. Now, that was a lot. I hope it was interesting and helpful to you. I am constantly trying to find ways to help AI make my workflows easier, but I'm not using it as a replacement for like me. Like at the end of the day, I am the person in charge. It is my strategy. It is my content. I am not just accepting what AI says. I always say it's important to push back and ask questions and, you have the final say. But what I've been loving is using AI for things that I don't need to be doing. I don't need to be spending my time on, and things that help make my life easier and that use its particular skills, like looking at lists and matching people together for my copy networking chat, like matchmaking. That's a great use of AI. Like my brain power and my expertise isn't there, but a tool like this is such a great way to make it happen and to make my life a little bit easier, to add more value to other people's lives. So that was today's episode. That was a lot. If you are using AI in your business, I would totally love to hear it. I just love hearing how others are using it. And if you're curious about Her AI, a group that I'm in, that club, I will also link some information down below of this episode. I encourage you to join us. There is so much value and so many amazing people in that group, and I learn something every day. And I truly believe that AI it's here and it's not going anywhere. And it's important that we as women learn to use these tools so that we can be on the forefront and we can be in charge and know how to use these and just make our lives easier and better. And I didn't even share about the ways I'm using it personally. Maybe I will make another episode about that because again, I just love AI. But that was enough for today. I thank you so much for listening and I'll talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.